Rudy from the year 1993, starring Sean Astin, is a movie based on reality, based on true events. I don't know how much of it is true, but Sean Astin is playing a small but passionate boy who loves football, and his dream is to play football for Notre Dame University, but everyone's like, you'll never do it. You can't do it. Your grades aren't good enough to get into Notre Dame, and you're not big enough to play the football. But he's like, I don't care. I'm going to try really hard because I want to do this. And that's basically what it is. It's an underdog story, and the whole time you're just like, let's go, Rudy. Let's see our boy get it. Let's see him get it. Keep trying, my boy. And you gotta say, it's a little schmaltzy, but I've definitely enjoyed it. You can see why it's a classic. And like I said, I don't really like sports movies generally that much, but when they're good, they're good. And this one, it's less about the sports, even though it is a sports movie, and more about the underdog story. More about this person that's trying so hard and get so far. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. Okay, anyway, I think people know what I was doing there. But it did matter. And this movie matters because it's a gosh darn hit, baby. Let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes. 77% certified fresh. Which, I think we all saw that coming. And then a whopping 90% from the audience score. That's pretty good. An average rating of 6.9 out of 10. So it'd go down to 69%, but still pretty good. 90% for the audience, like I said. And then 4.3 is an average rating, so it'd go down to about 86%. But again, it's still a very good score. Though undeniably sentimental and predictable, Rudy succeeds with an uplifting spirit and determination. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly with the consensus. I can't help but agree with that. It is schmaltzy, it's a little bit predictable, but you want to see him fucking do it. You want to see him do it, and the movie delivers. And you know what's going to happen, but you love it anyway. Let's read some of the reviews. And Spog, whose Hoosiers showed he knows from feel-good movies. Oh, right, that's a movie. I haven't seen Hoosiers. Directs this story as if he were conducting Bolero, carefully building climax upon climax as the story spirals to an underdog triumph every bit as tearful as that of Rocky. Honestly, I like Rocky more probably, but I would agree that it's on a similar level of that sort of feeling that you're like, yes, he's doing it. He did the football. They let him fucking play finally. Yes. The film is so effective because Rudy is never seen as a mock heroic, and he's never lifted toward unrealistic achievement. He simply does the very best he can. Well said. I agree. That's what it's about. It's about doing your best. And he fucking does. That's what it's about. Underneath its rah-rah spirit, the PG-rated Rudy is straightforward enough to raise, albeit unintentionally, some troubling questions. What? What troubling questions? This is like such a wholesome movie. I don't know what he's saying, and I don't agree. Ideally, this movie should be seen as a double feature with Newt Rockney. I don't know what that is. All American. That other great movie about Notre Dame. Oh, it's okay. Another movie about Notre Dame football. I had no idea. A well-crafted piece of middle American uplift. Let's read one more bad review here. A likable, if rather bland, underdog tale with director David Anspog and screenwriter Angelo Pizzo, who both scored with 1986's meteor Hoosiers, which I haven't seen this Hoosiers, but people keep talking about it. Dutifully checking off the boxes inherent in such Americana fare. Okay, so he's saying there's a little bit of a formula, and they're trying to keep working this formula, but I don't know. The formula films are fine if the formula is not broken yet, and if you don't fuck up the formula. And this one doesn't. It makes you care about the characters. Obviously, especially Rudy. Yeah, it's a delightful little film. This one. Okay, the popularity is going down here on IMDb. 7.5 out of 10, pretty great score for IMDb. Let's go down. Sean Astin, of course, the main guy. People that don't know what he's in so much shit. Obviously, most notably, he plays Sam in Lord of the Rings. He's Bob in Stranger Things Season 2. He's in Encino Man. He's in a movie called Toy Soldiers. He's in some Sandler stuff. I forget which Sandler movie he's in, but he's in at least one of those. He's, of course, in the Goonies. And yeah, all the Lord of the Rings movies is what he's known for best. But he's in a ton of shit. And he's a really underrated actor in a lot of ways, because a lot of people don't talk about him. But he's in a ton of shit, and he does a great job. Jon Favreau's in this. He's a good job. He plays D-Bob. And honestly, that's pretty much everybody I recognize. But everyone does a good job in this, acting-wise, in my opinion. Let's move on down to the box office information. We don't have a budget, but it grossed worldwide $22 million. I hope it had less of a budget than that. I don't know. I wonder if I can find what the budget was for Rudy. Ooh. What was Rudy's film budget? $12 million. Okay, so it made money then. Right on. We can get into... Whoa, shit. Turtle shaker. You use so many of them. I didn't see this until now. Holy shit. Turtle shaker. Okay, that's one. We're gonna use it for songs. That's one. We'll use it for some songs when we move on. I'll keep it right here. That should be enough for a hoot or edible. I mean, it is, but you used it on turtle shakers, so it's all. It would. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that part. You want me to do a hoot? I'll do it. If it wouldn't let you scroll, I kind of get what you mean by that. I'm sorry, Stevie. Of course. You want a hoot? Let's do a hoot. You got that. You could only get to the turtle shape. Well, let's still give you some of that, more of that. I was confused. I was like, you can't get it. That's so funny though. So you can't get the fucking thing if you redeem the different thing, but you couldn't get to the other thing. So here you go. I totally get it now. Let's go. Let's drink this tiny little bit of glass Coca-Cola. But yeah, let's just quickly. Yeah, boy.
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day.
Alright, back to the review. Let's look at the notes for Rudy. They are so mean to Rudy. Everyone is just like, you never fucking amount to anything, you small piece of shit. But, I mean, obviously that adds to it, and you're like, you'll show him, Rudy, and it makes you root for him more. So I get it, but at certain points it's like, why are they so mean to him? So at the beginning, there's like this part where there's a tackle and Rudy's on the field, but I don't get who got tackled. The way it was filmed was a little confusing, but that's a minor note. So moving on. They don't introduce the girlfriend well at all. Because she's just like, all of a sudden they're looking for a house, Sean Astin and his girlfriend, and we don't see her before until now, and it's like, what the heck? And then, like, yeah, she's just like, shouldn't be in there, in my opinion. The movie didn't need that. Maybe it was based on reality, but usually with these kind of biopics, they just shoe in a love interest just because they feel like it's better for the story, but it often is not. But anyway, moving on. Ooh, you see Pete's death coming, but it's nuts. So, like I said, everybody is like, "You're gonna fail. You suck, Rudy. You're not gonna make it. Quit on your dreams." Except for one guy, Pete. And of course, he has to fucking die in a tragic steel mill accident. It had to happen, and you know it's fucking coming, but it still hurts and it's tragic. No one believes in our poor boy, not in our poor boy, in our boy Rudy. So I've already said this. Fucking give Rudy a break. Next note. Stadium Gate is not locked up well. So, yeah, at Notre Dame, Sean Astin's like looking around and he just like squeezes in to the gate. It's like, should there be better security? Maybe it doesn't matter, but I don't know. I thought that it was a little bit too easy to break in. Moving on, Jon Favreau. He's in this, like I said, from the movie Chef. And obviously the Marvels and all that stuff. And I like Swingers too, he's in that. And the movie Made. Anyway, Christmas scene is crazy. And this part's pretty nuts because Rudy just shows up after he gets his first report card back. He doesn't get into Notre Dame yet, but he's still trying, and he goes back and just sees that his girlfriend is like with one of his cousins. Also, there's too many characters in this. It's so hard to follow who's who at certain points. It's like, and all the women look the same. They all have like dark hair, and it was so hard for me to tell them all apart. I'm really bad for that though. But what was I gonna say? Oh, just that scene's crazy. That's all I'll say, other than what I've already said about that. Moving on. How much are Notre Dame tickets? Because one guy's like, give me $100. Other guy's like, give me $20. Maybe it's one of those things with scalping, I guess, where it can go either way. Some people will want to charge you more, but that part was like, whoa. There's a lot of fluctuation in that price there. Fluctuation? Is that how you say it? Anyway, moving on. Says he doesn't need an assistant, then hires him for minimum wage. So Sean Astin, because he really wants to be, because he really wants to be on this football team and he's willing to do anything, he asked the groundskeeper, he's like, can I be on this team? Can I work for you rather? He can't be on the team yet. But he's like, can I work for you? I'll work for free even. And he's like, I don't need an assistant. But then he convinces him when he says he'll work for free. But then he's like, I'll give you minimum wage. It's like he was going to work for free. I guess that just shows how good of a guy this groundskeeper is, because you really get to like him. And you're like, okay, he's nice and he believes in Rudy and he is supportive of Rudy. So we like him. And he gives him some tough love every now and then, but he's not saying anything that shouldn't be said. So you like the groundskeeper. But that part I was sort of like, he was going to work for free, but he's just a nice guy, so I'll let that slide. Rudy is not a showboat. Someone calls Rudy a showboat at one point. And I'm like, do they even know what the fuck that means? He's just trying hard. He's just like really pushing his body. That's not a showboat. A showboat is like someone who gets a touchdown and is like, does a little dance or something. That's completely different. So that part's just not true. He's not a showboat. Look up the definition of showboat. It's not fucking that. I don't care about the kid who doesn't want to play on the football team. So this is one of the parts I just don't give a shit about. I get that they're trying to tie it in with Rudy by being like, Rudy inspired me to do better because he's this athlete that everyone expects him to do so well because he's a naturally gifted athlete. But Rudy's trying harder, so everyone is giving him more love. But I just don't give a shit about this guy's story. It's like, yeah, fuck this guy. Like, he's not trying and he's giving Rudy shit. Like, and you get to like him more towards the end because everyone loves Rudy towards the end, but still, I don't really care about that guy's story. At least they could have put less of that in and I would have been okay with it. Jon Favreau going to law school comes out of absolutely nowhere. Like, it's fine they give him something, like, more with his character to do. So they're like, we're going to send him to law school. But just a little bit more of a scene would have been made more sense. Because he just shows up in Sean Astin's dorm room and it's like, well, I'm going to law school in Miami. It's like, where did that come from? It's like, did you tell him before? Like, there was no inclination whatsoever that he was going to go to law school or he's interested in law at all. All of a sudden, he's going to law school. So I thought that was weird. But moving on, there's a lot of characters, already mentioned that. Hard to follow that at times. We didn't need a love interest for Rudy. I also already said that. And you didn't really. And they don't like conclude, because they have the other love interest that's developed actually a little better, because they have like scenes with her and they introduce her, Mary. But they do nothing with it. They don't conclude it. Like, they don't wrap that up. So they just shouldn't have had it. It wasn't necessary to the plot. The plot is Rudy wants to play the fucking football. And that's what they should have focused on. But, again, it's a little bit of a minor nitpick. This movie is really good. Let's rate it here. I must say, this movie was... Even though I'm not a big sports movie guy, typically, I have to admit when one does a good job. And this one does a good job. Some things maybe didn't make sense for me, but generally it was a feel-good movie. It's a little bit schmaltzy and predictable at times, but undeniably a feel-good movie. And you are rooting for Rudy 100%. So I'm going to give it a solid 8. I think that's fair. It's no monkey bone either, but it's good. 8 out of 10. I gave Monkey Bone 9 out of 10, I think. But anyway, Rudy, 8 out of 10. I liked it. Let's go. Oh, it's on the CTV streaming service if people in Canada want to watch it. If not, find out where it can stream on justwatch.com, and I'll tell you where it's streaming in your country. If you want to check it out, Rudy, 8 out of 10 dogs.